Are you feeling like this whole plant-based diet thing is just way too complicated, like you're gonna be stuck in the kitchen for the rest of your life? Well, I have good news. These Mexican Charro Beans are the simplest things to put together. I ate them day in, day out when I first started eating this way. I'm gonna show you how easy it is. Here we go. Hey everybody, this is Dylan. You know I'm all about helping you simplify your plant-based diet so that it becomes your forever diet, one that you don't feel like you're working hard at forever. Because you get into these little grooves like I did with Charro Beans when I was first starting out. I made this every day. A lot of people think, oh, I need to vary it up and get this every day and that every day and this every... You don't. You really don't need all that much variety, especially when you're starting out. Just get the good healthy calories and remove the things that are bad. That's really the main thing to focus on with plant-based, is getting rid of things. Not what do I need to stuff in, oh gosh, every little thing. You don't have to worry that much. Don't fret. Let's make some really simple beans. Do this on repeat, make a big batch, and you'll be set for like a week. That's what I did, and here I am. Still alive.
Bean me up, Scotty.
Bean me up, Scotty. Let's make some beans.
What are charro beans?
Charro beans are beans with Mexican flavor. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, those are my favorite.
Those are my favorite. Anything with Mexican flavor is my favorite. Charro's what? A Mexican cowboy, and they used to eat charro beans. Except they used to have a lot of pork, bacon, all this garbage in them. We've removed that, needless to say. We are making a 6-quart Instant Pot version, so you do not need to soak your beans in advance. You can, but you don't have to. We are chopping one big yellow onion and throwing it in the pot. Some people like to use the saute function on the Instant Pot because they think it'll bring out more flavor in the onion and the bell pepper and all this. That may be true, but I don't care. I never think ahead, so I don't soak the beans. I don't like to spend a bunch of time sauteing unless I know that I'm getting some sort of added benefit of really a lot of flavor. Or if I'm hosting and entertaining others, then maybe I'll go the extra mile. But for myself, no. Everything's just going in this Instant Pot and we're gonna turn it on. If you don't know this about me yet, my favorite type of recipes are the ones that require very little steps, preferably one. This is like my favorite. Throw everything in the pot, turn it on, and your lunch will be ready when it makes a noise. Next up, 2 jalapenos. You don't have to use the jalapenos. They are a little spicy, but they're not that spicy. I highly recommend them. I love jalapeno. If you want to save even more time, you could use a can of the green chilies, but they're very salty. I try to avoid canned foods that have a lot of added salt, and those chilies are pretty salty. Let's add some flavor. I'm gonna start with some Mexican chili. That's a pretty critical ingredient. You can find mild. This is very, very mild. This is not a spicy dish, unless of course you use spicy Mexican pepper. Next, we got 2 of my favorites, some cumin and oregano going in the tank with everything else. And I've got some cheater garlic. This is the Costco garlic you can buy in the jar. You can save time and use that. You can use garlic powder too, of course, and you could use the fresh stuff. Here are a few dry bay leaves going in the pot. That adds a nice flavor too. I've got a couple cups worth of veggie stock. You could just use water if you don't have veggie stock, no big deal, but it adds a little bit of robustness to the flavor. Remember, we don't have oil, we don't have salt and a bunch of fat, so we gotta add flavor with real food ingredients. So that's why I like to add a little bit of veggie stock, but it isn't terribly critical. Some tomato sauce. This is a no salt added tomato sauce. That's pretty important in my opinion because tomatoes have so much salt, the canned tomatoes normally, so I would definitely try to find them without the salt. Beans. Next up, pinto beans. Like I said, these were not soaked, these are just dry pinto beans. Throw them in. Normally now I just add boiling water to the fill line on the 6-quart, but I figure I should, if I'm gonna make this a real recipe, I should actually measure it and see how much water that is. The reason I'm using hot boiling water is because it's just gonna save you time with your Instant Pot heating up once you've added everything. There's 4, and maybe I can get another 1. So maybe it's gonna be like 5 cups. But that's to the fill line, and that was 6 cups of water. So that's pretty good. By the way, all the amounts for this recipe are down in the blog post that Reebs has put together for you in the description box of this video. And there you have it. It looks like a big pot of soup, but once you cook everything, these beans are obviously gonna be soaking up a lot of that water. So I'm just giving it a stir. Man, it already smells good and we haven't even fired it up yet. While those beans are cooking, I'll tell you a little story about what I used to do with this one. Many of you don't know, but I had a construction job before I was making videos, installing solar power on rooftops. And so I would have to take my food to work or else do what I did before I got healthy, which was eat fast food every day, which is terrible. So here's what I did. I got one of these cool, rugged Stanley lunch boxes. No, you don't have to get as rugged as this, but it was a construction site. I had to look good, you know what I mean? So this one's cool because it's got a couple spaces in here. You can put an ice pack, whatever. I would put in a fork, a napkin, and then this exact container full of pico de gallo, which I would pour all over my beans. And it fits right in here, boom, boom, boom. And then you got the lid on.
You mean to tell me you didn't have a LaCroix or two in there?
I had another cooler with some LaCroix. And then this is an awesome thermos for hot soups or other food. It's a food thermos. This is your bowl that you can eat out of, or you could take your own bowl and eat out of something slightly larger. You just put the hot beans right out of the Instant Pot or on the stove if you're gonna reheat them. You can prime this with boiling water first so that it's already preheated, and then it will keep your beans hot all day long. It'll be hot for dinner. And then all I did at 4 in the morning, I would fill this up with hot beans that I would reheat on the stove in 2 minutes, and then I'd throw my Pico, it was already in the fridge in the container, put it in here, boom, I'm on my way. So I had like nothing I had to do, and I still got to have a hot meal like everybody else. So that was...
What did everybody else say about you eating your beans?
I got made fun of, but because I was the boss, it wasn't very heavy making fun of. It wouldn't have gone well for them if they did. So now let me show you the Pico de Gallo that I used to eat. I would make jars of this and eat it with beans every day. I keep telling you that, but I mean it.
People remember the videos.
Yeah,
I remember you making like a village-sized batch of Pico or guac. Or...
But you have to understand, I started eating this way months before I started making videos, and so I was real rudimentary at the beginning. And it was beans and Pico and work 10 hours on a rooftop. It was rough. But I made do and I was able to get healthy, and that's when I thought, you know what, I want a different job. And I started making videos hoping that it would lead to something, and here we are. Let me show you how to make this simple Pico de Gallo. It's pretty much a salsa / salad hybrid. We're just gonna chop stuff up and put it together. That's it. I'm gonna use these cherry tomatoes because I forgot to buy Roma tomatoes. Normally I use Roma tomatoes. And I use a serrated knife for these because it's easier, and we're just gonna quarter these cherry tomatoes, throw them all in the pot. Then I got a couple jalapenos. I wouldn't probably take the jalapenos out, but you could use bell pepper if you wanted to. Dice them up, throw them in with everything else. Then I've got a little bit of red onion, dice that up just the same, throw it in the pot. We've got some fresh cilantro. I tried this with dried cilantro once, and it was just not good. Chop up that cilantro, throw it in the pot. Then we got a little bit more cheddar garlic. Traditional Pico de Gallo does not have garlic, but why wouldn't it? So I added. Then a couple of limes, squeeze them in, mix it up, and you've got a perfect, delightful topper to your charro beans. Of course, you could top it with a little bit of avocado too if you want to, but I don't put the avocado in my Pico because then it will get brown and gross faster. I don't want that. So I just save the avocado, put it in your lunchbox, and add some at dinner time, lunchtime. Oh yeah. Let's have a taste. They've been sitting, they're looking real beautiful. The smell is amazing. Oh, look at these beans. This is probably like an al dente. See how the beans aren't all broken apart? They're not hard, but they're not as soft and busted as like a can of beans. I ended up doing about 45 minutes high pressure plus 15 minutes natural release. If you want them a little bit softer, you could do like an hour high pressure and then 15 minutes natural release, but we'll put all that information down in the recipe. There's a link below in the description box. Let's get to the tasting, shall we, Reebs? I eat a lot of beans, so I make a big bowl. A nice big bowl like that. Let's throw on some Pico, and this is how I used to eat it. Boom, throw on tons of Pico. Let's have a taste. You could throw on some avocado, but I just want to taste it just like the old days. Here it is. Oh, the freshness from the Pico is just like perfect. I love the fresh tomatoes. Delicious and hearty and filling. I mean, they're beans. How can you go wrong? Make some chips, do some dipping. Now you can see just how easy this way of eating really can be. Just make a big pot of beans. You've got lunches like we've been talking about. It is all so much simpler than everybody else is saying. So enjoy your beans. Check out this playlist right here with more of my Latin recipes, which are my favorites. And we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.